Hey everybody, this is Barry from the Brewed Palate. I'm here with Dave Kleban from the Maine Beer Company, obviously in Maine, at the Blind Tiger yet again for a great event. So what brings you to New York?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What brings you to New York?
New York. Me with a distributor, hanging out here, hanging out at a few other bars tonight and tomorrow.
All right, and going from the somewhat more laid back Maine beer scene to the busy city of New York, what's your picture of the New York beer scene now that we've kind of got a glimpse of what's going on nowadays?
Maine's laid back, but we have a lot of breweries.
Right.
So it was always kind of flip-flopped. Maine was big state, small population, a lot of breweries. New York City, small place, huge population, not a lot of breweries. But what I've learned tonight is that a lot of nice little breweries are starting to pop up in and around New York City. So that's pretty cool. Drinking one right now.
Right. So I know a little bit about the brewery. You opened in 2009, but can you just tell the viewers here a little bit of history of the brewery, and how you've grown and expanded the brewery in recent years?
Long story or short story? Short story.
Short story.
Short story. My brother and I started it in 2009, like you said. We had a one-barrel brew house. We self-distributed in Maine. We would yield, I think 12 packs a week that I would drive around in my truck and sell and deliver to accounts in Portland and the Portland area. 2010 we expanded, bought a 15-barrel brew house, and from there we had one 30-barrel fermenter, and now kind of lost track. We must have 8, 9, 10, 11 or 12 fermenters now. Our capacity in 2009 was 100 barrels. Now it's 6,400 barrels a year.
Nice.
So some growth over 4 years, but we're not huge by any means, but it's still big to us.
And then I know you guys brew a good variety of beers, and all your beers are bottle conditioned, which is nice. But what's your basic philosophy that drives your beers? I know you like to your motto is do the right thing, but what's your vision for all the beers? What approach do you take when you brew a Maine Beer Company beer?
Yep, that's a fair question, and the answer is actually pretty simple. Me and my brother only brew beers that we like to drink.
Right.
We being me and him. So others have input, and we get some feedback here and there, but at the end of the day, if we like it, we're making it. And if people want to drink it and they agree with us, they can, and if not, then I guess we would find that out fast enough because no one would buy it. But we don't expect everyone to like our beers, but we're not trying to be a huge brewery either. So we feel we can do it our way if we plan on staying pretty small. And that way, sounds corny, but our heart's always in it. We're not doing some market research to see what people want to buy and then making that. It's actually just the other way around.
Right. So, I'd like to educate the viewers here a little bit more about the beer scene in Maine, because it's in the northeast of the U.S. Of course, Allagash is a well-known brewery, but not many of the other Maine breweries are very well-known in the beer scene until, unless, you guys are becoming more well-known with the hype around your lunch IPA, but what is the Maine beer scene really about, like nowadays? With all the breweries opening and the beer bars opening, what is it really like around Portland, especially nowadays?
Confusing. Like you said, there are a lot of breweries opening. So many, and only because I'm busy. I concentrate on what I do and try to do it really well, and I try to not ignore on purpose, but I don't really pay attention to what others are doing because I don't want it to cloud my judgment. The scene there, I mean, it's growing for sure, but there have always been a lot. I'm guessing, but I want to say that when we started in 2009, there were 15 breweries in Maine. I think at least 4 or 5 this past year opened up. I mean, that's in a year. DL Geary's Brewing, they were the first one in Maine, to my knowledge. I think it was back in the 80s. So Geary started there kind of when Sierra Nevada was starting out in California. Bell's was starting in Michigan. So brewing in Maine, craft brewing in Maine, is actually pretty old from that standpoint that Geary was a pioneer. But in the past 5 years, like a lot of places, including New York City, it's kind of going gangbusters. And quite honestly, I get the question all the time. I don't know what to make of it. Like I said, I keep my head down and just stick to doing what we do, and hope that it works out, and it is so far, knock on wood.
One thing that I really like about Maine Beer Company is that you guys started as home brewers. You both were in your, professions, and then you chose to start your own brewery, and that seems to, be the story of like a typical craft brewery, like, oh, we were home brewers, we chose to open our brewery, but nowadays there's so many breweries opening, and it's harder and harder to really take that leap from home brewing to opening your own brewery. So, what was that like for you guys, and what advice would you give to home brewers now who are maybe thinking of doing the same thing that you and your brother did?
Back when we did it, people weren't really doing it every week, every day. I mean, I don't know if there are 300 some breweries supposed to open this year. That's like one a day.
Right.
A brewery hadn't opened in Maine in years, not one. When we opened up, it was, the folks at Allagash and everywhere else are going, what, a new brewery? Nobody's opening breweries. So back then, the home brewer to commercial or professional brewer, if you want to call us professionals, I don't know about that, but it was a unique story back then, and it was a story that helped us. It was a story we had to tell that was unique back then. I don't know what advice I would have for others trying to do it. I would think that a few comments that I would have is, my guess is that the barrier to enter the market is much tougher because of the number of breweries that are out there and starting up. You have to have a unique story somehow, and quite honestly, your beer these days has to be great. It can't be just good. There are too many choices. So back then, we got away with a murder, to some extent. Starting out, our learning curve, we were forgiven for some things.
All right, so we've got a nice picture of what you guys are all about. What's some stuff that's coming up for Maine Beer Company in the next few months, year, now that you guys really established yourself not only in Maine but around the Northeast?
We expanded in December buying 3 or 4 more tanks, and so 2014, and at this point 15. Our new facility that we built in Freeport is now filled up. So what's new is hopefully developing some routine instead of kind of head down growth pattern. I'm looking forward to refining things and settling into more of who we are and concentrating on our customers more, our staff more, and just kind of taking a break and enjoying it. It's hard to enjoy it when you're growing quickly. So that's what we're going to try to do.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to to trying more of your beers and of course sharing what you guys bring in the coming months with the rest of the craft beer scene, because you guys are brewing some awesome beer, and I definitely know that people I've spoken to have tried your beers are really enjoying it. So cheers.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming to New York.
Yep. Thanks for talking to me.